I got a technical for clapping. So like if we should all just go on the calendar now and pick a game that I'm going to be suspended for if I'm going to get technicals for clapping. I asked Gerda. Gerda said that I got a technical for clapping.
Gerda!
So if any technical should be taken away, it should be that one. If it's truly for clapping, that's what they said they gave it to me was for clapping. So it's just ridiculous. I don't understand it at all.
So even within that, though, how aware do you have to be of the 8 technical fouls?
I mean, I'm going to play with emotion. I'm going to play with passion. And if
I got a technical for clapping. I'm going to play with passion. The moment felt bigger than a routine post-game press conference. It felt bigger than a single technical foul. It felt bigger than one disputed call. Because when Caitlin Clark sat down and openly challenged the explanation behind her latest technical foul, she crossed a line that very few young superstars are willing to cross. Most players complain, most players hint, most players dance around the issue. But Caitlin Clark did something entirely different. She named the referee, she repeated the referee's name, and then she publicly challenged the logic behind the call. For months, Caitlin Clark has been at the center of nearly every major controversy surrounding officiating in the WNBA. Hard fouls, physical defenses, technical fouls, heated confrontations. Every week seemed to produce another debate about how opponents were defending Caitlin Clark and how officials were handling the situation. But this time, Caitlin Clark wasn't talking about a flagrant foul. She wasn't talking about being shoved. She wasn't talking about being held. She was talking about clapping. And that's what made this moment explode across the basketball world. Because according to Caitlin Clark, she was informed that the technical foul was issued because she was clapping and allegedly instigating. To Caitlin Clark, that explanation wasn't just weak. It was absurd. The frustration in Caitlin Clark's voice revealed something deeper. This wasn't merely anger over a single whistle. This was the culmination of months of tension between Caitlin Clark, opposing teams, officials, and a league still adapting to the unprecedented spotlight that follows her every move. And as Caitlin Clark continued speaking, one message became impossible to ignore. She was no longer interested in staying quiet.
And I'd love to hear what they say of the reasoning of why I got the technical foul in that situation and why other players on their team didn't get a technical foul in that situation. If anything, split it. Okay, fine. Everybody gets a technical foul. That wasn't how they were handed out. So I'd love to know. But obviously, that's what I went to Gerda and said. I said, why'd you give me a technical foul? She said, because I was clapping and instigating. I said, okay, then you just don't like competitive basketball.
Damn.
And that's just facts. That's just reality. So disappointing from them.
Damn, she made sure we all know her name. Gerda. She made sure we...
And I'd love to hear, we all know her name. The significance of this moment wasn't simply that Caitlin Clark questioned a call. Players question calls every night. The significance was that Caitlin Clark publicly demanded accountability. Throughout basketball history, stars have often maintained an unwritten understanding with officials. Disagreements happen, emotions flare, then everyone moves on. But Caitlin Clark wasn't interested in moving on. Instead, Caitlin Clark wanted answers. Why was she assessed a technical foul? Why were other players not penalized? Why was clapping considered worthy of punishment? These questions transformed a routine officiating controversy into a league-wide discussion. What made the situation even more fascinating was Caitlin Clark's history regarding technical fouls. Unlike many athletes who refuse responsibility, Caitlin Clark has repeatedly acknowledged when she believed she deserved punishment. She has admitted when emotions got the better of her. That history gave her criticism additional weight. Because this wasn't Caitlin Clark claiming innocence every single time. This was Caitlin Clark specifically arguing that this situation crossed a line. Meanwhile, the pressure surrounding Caitlin Clark continues to grow. Every game featuring Caitlin Clark generates enormous television ratings. Every controversy involving Caitlin Clark becomes national sports news. That creates a unique challenge. Officials are expected to treat Caitlin Clark exactly like everyone else. Yet every decision involving Caitlin Clark receives 10 times the scrutiny. The result is a pressure cooker environment where every whistle becomes a story. And in this particular case, Caitlin Clark decided she was no longer willing to simply accept the narrative. She wanted explanations. She wanted consistency. And she wanted the league to publicly defend the decision if it truly believed the call was justified.
And then she even followed up. Hey, how does this... The guy followed up. Hey, how does this make you change moving forward? It doesn't. It doesn't. You want to team me up for clapping? Go ahead. You want to team me up for clapping and showing competitiveness? Go ahead. I'd love to see it, Gerda. Oh, yeah. And that's just facts. What a effing demon. I'm loving I don't give a F anymore, see?
And then she even followed, with these refs and daring them. What makes Caitlin Clark unique isn't simply her talent, it's her competitive identity. Since college, Caitlin Clark has built a reputation as a player fueled by emotion. The swagger, the confidence, the celebrations, the reactions. The visible intensity. Those traits help transform Caitlin Clark into one of the most recognizable athletes in America. But those same traits inevitably create tension with officials, because the line between passion and perceived disrespect is often subjective. When Caitlin Clark says she will continue playing with emotion, she is essentially declaring that she will not fundamentally change who she is. That matters. Many young stars enter professional leagues and gradually become more cautious. Media training encourages restraint. Public relations teams encourage neutrality. Yet Caitlin Clark appears to be moving in the opposite direction. Instead of becoming quieter, Caitlin Clark is becoming more vocal. Instead of avoiding controversy, Caitlin Clark is confronting it directly. Historically, basketball's biggest icons often reached similar crossroads. Competitive greatness requires a certain level of stubbornness. The same mentality that allows a player to take impossible shots, attack elite defenses, and embrace pressure also makes that player resistant to backing down. That's what this moment revealed. Caitlin Clark wasn't speaking like someone worried about consequences. Caitlin Clark was speaking like someone frustrated enough to challenge the system publicly. The psychological message was unmistakable. If competitiveness is being punished, then she intends to keep competing anyway. That attitude resonates strongly with fans because supporters of Caitlin Clark often view her as someone fighting through constant physical attention, constant criticism, and constant scrutiny. Whether people agree with her argument or not, the confidence behind it was impossible to miss.
It's a good point. I dare you to suspend me. I dare you to suspend me. See how happy those media partners are if you suspend me on a national TV game. See how happy Peacock is. See how happy NBC is. See how happy Amazon Prime is when you suspend the moneymaker. Ooh, damn. Damn. And folks, this is the clapping. This is the clap that we're talking about. Boom.
It's a good point, I dare. What we're talking about. The broader implications extend far beyond one technical foul because Caitlin Clark is no ordinary player. Caitlin Clark is a ratings phenomenon. Caitlin Clark is a ticket-selling phenomenon. Caitlin Clark is arguably the most commercially impactful player in the league. That reality changes the stakes. Every suspension involving Caitlin Clark would become headline news. Every missed nationally televised appearance by Caitlin Clark would become a major business discussion. And that's why the conversation escalated so quickly. At its core, Caitlin Clark's comments carried an unmistakable challenge. If clapping deserves technical fouls, then where does the line actually exist? If competitive emotion becomes punishable, what message does that send to players? Those questions affect more than Caitlin Clark. They affect league perception. They affect fan trust. They affect future officiating standards. Within the franchise itself, moments like these can also strengthen team chemistry. Teammates often rally around players who publicly stand their ground. The support shown toward Caitlin Clark during physical confrontations throughout the season has reinforced a growing sense of unity. Looking ahead, the most likely outcome isn't suspension. The most likely outcome is increased scrutiny. Every future technical involving Caitlin Clark will now be examined under a microscope. Every future interaction between Caitlin Clark and officials will generate attention. And every future controversial whistle involving Caitlin Clark will reignite this debate. Because once a superstar publicly calls out the process, people start paying closer attention to every decision that follows.